Hello and welcome to a deep dive into the literary and film worlds of Jurassic Park. My name is Celia and today we will be looking at Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park as well as its film adaptation. A quick warning, there will be spoilers and brief mentions of graphic content in this podcast. Now, let's get into Michael Crichton and his book. Michael Crichton is an award-winning author best known for his Jurassic Park series. In addition to being an author, he is also a screenwriter and filmmaker. Using his Harvard Medical School education, Crichton typically writes within the sci-fi, medical, and thriller genres. Many of his books, Jurassic Park included, revolve around futuristic science and advise against unethical and irresponsible practice.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park is a book that almost everyone has at least heard of and a movie that most people have seen. The book is told from a few different perspectives, namely the characters of Dr. Grant, an acclaimed paleontologist, and Tim, the grandson of John Hammond, who is the creator of the park. Of course, there are other perspectives scattered throughout the story, such as Malcolm, a math genius who always knew things were going to go wrong,
For a mathematician.
Chaotician, actually.
and Nedry, an annoyingly stupid about dinosaurs and way too smart about computers type of guy. The movie does an exceptional job highlighting these personalities through their casting. The movie is directed by Steven Spielberg and stars Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum. As a side note, I do love Jeff Goldblum and all of his eccentric characters. In this movie, he plays Malcolm, which was just an amazing casting of that character, because all of the characters in the movie think that his character is crazy, and the audience is just begging them to listen to him.
God creates dinosaurs. God destroys dinosaurs. God creates man. Man destroys God. Man creates dinosaurs.
The plot of the film loosely follows the book, which was somewhat surprising to me as Michael Crichton himself was one of the screenwriters. But, directors, screenwriters, sometimes they have contrasting visions. The general plot of both the book and the film is of a man named John Hammond wanting to open a theme park where people can see real dinosaurs. Over many years of research and planning, his team of scientists and gamekeepers were able to successfully produce such a theme park. However, when a staff member gets mauled by a dinosaur, Hammond is forced to call in at least 2 experts to sign off on the safety of the park before it can open. The experts arrive and are given a tour of the park, which, of course, goes very, very wrong due to Nedry betraying the company in hopes of making a quick million.
This is just a delay. That's all it is. All major theme parks have delays. When they opened Disneyland in 1956, nothing worked.
Yeah, but John, if the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists.
The movie ends with the remaining survivors escaping the island in a helicopter and leaving the island as it is, which differs greatly from the book. But we'll get into more of the differences and similarities next. As I mentioned earlier, Michael Crichton's books are typically science fiction with a message of warning towards unethical and irresponsible practice. However, the Jurassic Park movie feels less like a Michael Crichton novel and more like someone tried to retell the story from memory after reading the book. The film is quite slasher-esque with its bloody mauling scenes and more characters than necessary dying, not to mention the fact that some of the characters they killed off weren't even killed off in the book.
Dennis, our lives are in your hands and you have butterfingers?
What the movie does include, which I really like, is an obvious motif: water. Water consistently shows up throughout the film as the majority of the plot is centered around a big storm hitting the island where Jurassic Park is located. At around an hour 20 and 16 seconds, the camera pans down to a dinosaur track in the mud where we see water pooling. As an ominous sound approaches, the water pooled in the track ripples. When the camera pans back up, we see Malcolm, the mathematician, looking increasingly worried and call out to the other characters to drive away.
Anybody hear that? It's an impact tremor is what it is. I'm fairly alarmed here.
That scene in particular is a very close mimic of a scene which happened about 18 minutes earlier at 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 8 seconds. But instead of a dinosaur track, it is 2 cups of water rippling, signaling the first appearance of the T-Rex in the entire movie. The same motif shows up again when Nedry is attempting to escape the island with the stolen embryos and he is caught up in the pouring rain. The whole scene is incredible to watch. I mean, shortly after running into a dangerous dinosaur, Nedry attempts to scramble back up the rocks to the car, and the camera perspective is halfway in the grass, almost like the audience is the dinosaur stalking Nedry.
And no wonder you're extinct. I'm gonna run you over when I come back down.
The stolen embryos were stored in a trick shaving cream can, which the camera tracks as it falls from Nedry's pocket and flows down a stream of water before landing in mud and being buried. The sound of water and the beams of headlights really pull the scene together to add drama. The headlights cut through the dark night and highlight the features of Nedry's face, as well as the Dilophosaurus that kills him. The whole scene drew me in and made me truly feel the panic and frustration that Nedry was feeling through the lighting, excess water, and general framing. I find that motifs are much more noticeable in films than in books. Like, while I was reading, I did notice a recurring theme of water, but I visualized it more as a descriptor of scenery rather than a motif. However, in the film, the water was so overwhelmingly present in so many of the scenes that it's just impossible to ignore or blend into the scenery. Jurassic Park is full of amazing scenes, each one packed with so many things to take in at once. One of my favorite shots from the film is around 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 9 seconds, where a velociraptor is hunting 2 people, Ellie, who is Dr. Grant's co-worker, and Dr. Grant. The head of the raptor pops up on the screen and is standing in front of a projector of some sort. That's what I'm assuming, that's what it looks like. The projector is displaying a gene sequence across the entire head and neck of the raptor, and it looks almost accidental, but at the same time so purposeful that you notice it right away. It's such a cool shot that, the book definitely couldn't have recreated with words. Considering the execution of the transfer from literature to film, I think that, while both the movie and book are good, it did end up being like most film adaptations in which the underlying message of the book got left behind in exchange for more thrill. The book contains a lot more internal reasoning and dialogue considering the consequences of bioengineering and how it is terrible for the ecosystem and humanity. Much of this reflection is lost in the movie, which is understandable, but still disappointing to a big Michael Crichton fan like myself. I mentioned earlier that the movie only loosely follows the plot of the book, and I say this because there were so many scenes that were cut out or cut too short in order to move the plot along, which, again, is understandable as a movie only has 2 to 3 hours to tell an entire story without boring its audience to death.
After careful consideration, I've decided not to endorse your park. So have I.
It is for these reasons that I believe the book and the movie are good on their own. If you read the book and then watch the movie, as I did, you are more likely to feel disappointed at the lack of commentary and even science fiction. It disappointed me to see such an amazing piece of literature be reduced to another slasher-esque film. In my opinion, the film fell short of the book in many ways. This all goes without mentioning that there were unnecessary relationships added that were nothing short of uncomfortable.
That is one big pile of shit.
To end on a more positive note, I did really like that the film gave Lex, Tim's older sister, a more important role than in the book. In the book, Tim was the one who, quote-unquote, saved the day by getting the security systems back online, but in the movie it's Lex. It made me really happy to have Lex be more than the annoying sister who doesn't understand anything about dinosaurs or really what's going on at any given moment. I do think that the reasoning behind Lex having this role in the movie is that she was written as a younger sister in the book, but she is cast as an older sister in the movie. No matter the reason, I appreciated seeing a little bit of depth added to her character while retaining the humorous ditziness that was originally present.
Are those meat-eating metosauruses?
So, if you learn anything from the movie, or more likely the book, don't bring back dinosaurs. Michael Crichton says it better, as he had 400 pages to tell us that maybe, just maybe, bringing back extinct and very deadly animals isn't the best idea. But the simple message remains.
Remind me to thank John for a lovely weekend.
And now, for some thank yous and credits. Thank you to my wonderful, amazing teacher, Teacher Megan, for lending me the book to read and reference. Thank you to my wonderful, amazing mother for reminding me the Hulu password so I can watch the movie legally. And my wonderful and amazing father for motivation. And lastly, thank you to IMDb and Wikipedia for all the information I could ever want on Jurassic Park and Michael Crichton.